Hello everyone, Bob Believes Around the World, and in today's lesson we're going to be uncovering who is the true Mystery Babylon, that wicked city, Babylon the Great. Now there's two main beliefs on who Mystery Babylon is, and that is the One West camps with America, the United States of America, being Mystery Babylon, and then many people say Mecca. Now I was once in both of these beliefs, but the Most High Yah has had me studying and has been showing me that it's actually neither of these three places, because both of these places, the United States of America and Mecca, do not fit the scriptures. We're going to start off with America. In the beginning, when I moved out of the United States, I believed that I was fleeing Babylon. But as I traveled from country to country, I started to have this feeling, this discernment, that the United States of America wasn't actually the Babylon the Great of the scriptures. And for a while, I believed the Mecca was Mystery Babylon, because when the Most High Yah brought me out of the bondage that is One West Camp doctrine and showed me that Esau is not the father of the Caucasoid peoples, I started to believe that Mecca was Mystery Babylon because Esau's tied to Arabia. But then I started to learn that the whole concept that Esau is going to rule the earth and that he's going to, dominate everybody and he's going to control the one world religion is false, because the whole premise that Esau is going to be a world ruler comes from the One West camps and their devil doctrine. And when you actually read in Times Bible prophecy, Esau's not ruling anybody. You don't see any verses of Esau being tied or owning Mystery Babylon. And as a matter of fact, the Gog and Magog military that's going to try and war against Christ in the end is an army made up of Japhethites and Hamites, no Edomites. Now, let's get started. Okay, here we go. We're going to be diving into my notes. Here's the big reveal. Mystery Babylon / Babylon the Great is modern day Jerusalem, not the United States of America or Mecca. And I'm going to go through my notes right here, and we're going to see how the scriptures are going to prove this to be true. Point 1. The Bible tells us that Mystery Babylon is a city, not a nation, and not an entire region. This is seen in Revelation chapter 17, verse 18, Revelation 18:10, Revelation 18:16, Revelation 18:18, Revelation 18:19, and Revelation 18:21. All of these verses refer to Mystery Babylon as being a city, not a nation, and not an entire region. So you can't just say that America is Babylon. If you're going to try and link Mystery Babylon to the United States of America, you have to specifically point to a city in the United States that matches Bible prophecy, because Mystery Babylon is a city. It's not a nation. It's not an entire region. So America itself, the entirety of the United States, is ineligible of being Mystery Babylon. You can't just say America. If you're going to point to the United States, you need to find a city that fits the scriptures. All right, now let's move on. This puts a hole in the teaching that the United States of America is Mystery Babylon, because Mystery Babylon is a specific city. So anyone who points to the USA needs to bring up an American city that fits scripture and not just say America. Exactly. Point 2. Revelation 18:24 says that the blood of the prophets and the saints and all that were slain upon the face of the earth is in Mystery Babylon. This is key, because it means that Mystery Babylon is a place where the prophets and the saints were killed. Okay, so now we need to ask the question, what prophets were killed in the United States of America? Were any of the biblical prophets killed in the United States of America? What prophet was killed in America? And then the saints, the disciples, were any of the disciples killed in the United States of America? And for that matter, were any of the prophets or the disciples killed in Mecca? Mecca and the United States of America both strike out on this one. Let's keep going. And we're going to come back to Revelation 18:24. We're going to come back and tie this all together. But right now, we're just going over the notes. None of the biblical prophets or saints were killed in any of the cities in the United States, nor were they killed in the city of Mecca. Point 3. Revelation 17:18 tells us that Mystery Babylon is the great city that reigneth over the kings of the earth. Okay, this is key, because once again, there's that mention of city. Remember, we talked about Revelation 17:18 up there, up a little bit further on the page just a moment ago. This does not fit the United States of America. The United States of America is eliminated from fitting this scripture, because the United States of America does not reign over the kings of the earth, because countries like North Korea, Russia, China, Iran, and even Vietnam have fought back against the United States of America and are disobedient. So these countries prove that America is not calling the shots on the world stage. America does not control or dictate what these countries do. All right. And we're going to read about Mecca now. Okay. We know the United States of America does not fit Revelation 17 and 18. Now let's see about Mecca. Mecca does not rule over the kings of the earth either, because although Islam has grown in power around the world, Mecca as of today does not call the shots for the world. And countries like Japan and North Korea have little care for Islam. So it's the same thing for Mecca. Islam has grown in power, but as of today, Mecca does not call the shots on the world stage. Mecca doesn't say things and all of the other nations follow. The United States of America does not say things and all of the other nations follow. Even right now, America is calling on many of the European nations to help them fight Iran, and they're not listening. They're not coming. So we're seeing it unfold right now that the United States of America is not calling the shots. So if the United States of America was Mystery Babylon, that means that they would have to fit this verse. And if they fit that verse, all these people would be listening to America and not always biting them and doing the opposite of what they say. Okay? Point 4. The book of Obadiah is not about Mystery Babylon or white people, but is instead about the judgment of Mount Seir, the Arabian homeland of the Negroid Hebrew Edomites, not Mystery Babylon. The idea that Obadiah is about Mystery Babylon comes from the One West camps, and it falls apart when you remove the devil doctrine that Esau is the Caucasian, and when you read Obadiah in its entirety rather than cutting it up to spread an agenda. Obadiah 1:9 says that the mighty men of Teman shall be dismayed. Teman is in Arabia, not the USA or Europe. Obadiah 1:19 says that they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau, and they of the plain of the Philistines. So the Philistines are nearby where this takes place. 1 Kings chapter 9 verse 26 tells us that the land of Edom is on the coast of the Red Sea. In other words, Obadiah is not a part of this study about Mystery Babylon. Okay? So we need to clear all that type of stuff up that, Esau's not the white man and Esau has nothing to do with Mystery Babylon. They use Obadiah to try and not only pushed Esau's the white man doctrine, but tried to make America the land of Edom and Babylon at the exact same time. It's devil doctrine. It's not sound. Okay. Point 5. Mystery Babylon sits on 7 hills, and although America and Mecca do fit this, there's also another key place that fits this too. We're going to get into that. Point 6. Isaiah chapter 13:14 tells us that people will flee back to their native lands to escape the destruction of Babylon. And this is a verse that people like to link to the United States of America because it's a country populated by non-indigenous foreigners like Europeans, so-called white people, Japhet, and East Asians. But just like the 7 hills, this description also fits another place very well. All right, here's the last point in my notes, and then I'm going to tie this all together. Point 7. There appears to be 2 different Babylons in Scripture, because the prophecy about the Medes being stirred up in Isaiah 13:17 appears to be speaking about the original ancient Babylon, because verse 19 calls this Babylon the beauty of the Chaldees, and the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency. And verse 20 says that the Arabian shall no longer pitch his tent in the land after Babylon is destroyed. Okay, so now that we've gone over the notes, let's tie this all together and see what city on the earth today matches all this. Let's go to the very beginning. Okay, let's get started. Jerusalem fits point 1 100% because Jerusalem is indeed a city. Now let's go to point 2, where Revelation 18:24 says that the blood of the prophets and the saints and all that were slain upon the face of the earth is a Mystery Babylon. Let's break down each one of these points one at a time. So the blood of the prophets fits because there were prophets who were slain in Jerusalem. And the saints fit because there were saints who were killed in Jerusalem. And last part about all they that were slain on the face of the earth is interesting because Jerusalem, specifically the 1948 people, it's been theorized that one of the 1948 families, a very wealthy family, actually funded the world wars. So if that's true, that would make them eligible and fit this verse perfectly because people all over the face of the earth were slain in World War I and World War II, especially World War II. So if that turns out to be the case, that would make Jerusalem fit all three of these. America is completely ineligible of all three of these because no prophets died in America, no saints died in America, and although America has done a lot of killing, Hiroshima, Vietnam, and the stuff in the Middle East, they're not responsible for worldwide death, only in specific regions. Same thing with Mecca. Islam has caused a lot of damage, but Islam has not killed and slain everybody on the face of the earth. They have not caused a worldwide death, slain issue. Let's keep going down. Point 3 tells us that in Revelation 17:18, that Mystery Babylon is the great city that reigneth over the kings of the earth. This fits Jerusalem perfectly because the only reason the United States of America is doing what it's doing right now is because 1948 wants it to. When you look at old interviews of the 1948 prime minister, he wanted regime change in Iran. And he's been saying that and requesting that for decades. The prime minister of 1948 also wanted Saddam Hussein gone. And America has done both of these things.
If you take out Saddam's regime, I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region. And obviously we like to see a regime change, at least I would, in Iran, just as I would like to see in Iraq. The question now is a practical question. What is the best place to proceed? It's not a question of whether Iraq's regime should be taken out, but when should it be taken out? It's not a question of whether you'd like to see a regime change in Iran, but how to achieve it.
And moving on from just that, of Jerusalem controlling the United States of America, having power and influence over what the United States of America does, the 1948 people have also spread themselves all over the earth and have placed themselves in positions of authority in governments around the earth. A good example of that is Vladimir Zelensky in Ukraine. He is one of them. So not only do they have influence over the world and telling people what to do, and they actually do it from Jerusalem, but they've also placed their own people in governments around the world, and they have control that way. So Jerusalem fits this verse about ruling over the earth, ruling over the kings of the earth, better than Mecca or the United States of America could ever fit. All right, sorry for the pause. Let's go down. Point 5. Mystery Babylon sits on 7 hills. Jerusalem does indeed sit on 7 hills. Now point 6. Isaiah 13:14 tells us that people will flee back to their native lands to escape the destruction of Babylon. Now people want to make this about America, but when war has hit the Middle East in the past, there's been images surfacing of the 1948 people flooding the airports to try and escape. People who are not native to the land, these people are of the seed of Japheth. They are Japhethites from Togarmah, Khazars. So they are from Europe. So we have people fleeing back to their native lands because Arabia is not their native lands. So when we see the 1948 fleeing back to their native lands, it fits Isaiah chapter 13:14.